Welcome back to a new episode of Roaming Wild, where I take you along on the road with me. This week I'm taking you through the beautiful San Juan Mountains in southern Colorado. If you thought Crested Butte had amazing wildflowers, then you've seen nothing until you've been in the San Juan Mountains in the middle of July. Road life is a little more difficult down here just because every afternoon around 2 or 3, there's generally going to be a thunderstorm coming through, which means a lot of rain and can be dangerous if you're out on a mountaintop at that time. This basin is popular for the flowers, of course, like these beautiful columbines, which are the state flower of Colorado. There's also a trailhead to a popular 14er, which happens to be the first and final 14er that I've ever hiked because that's not something I really need to do again. One of my favorite parts about this area is that there are so many 4x4 roads and forest roads that go deep into these mountains, and there's just a ton of amazing camping you could do back there. If you're willing to camp at about 12,000 feet every night, which definitely has its challenges.
Sitting in my pocket in plain sight all alone. It's time for me to go, burn all bridges. All I know, I got lost along the way, fell between the foam, pulling stitches. Time to let go, so come what may. Don't look before you leave. What you give, you get to keep. So long, farewell, bye-bye. Let's have a toast for those lost old eyes. And my crooked little heart that seems so rebellious is falling apart right now. It's time for me to go, burn all
The San Juan Mountains are definitely some of my favorite mountains in the country. Because of the iron in the mountains, you get that bright red, and because of all the rain they get in the summer, the green is just so lush and beautiful, and I just don't think that there are any other mountains in the country quite like this. I was camped at this spot for a day or two, and then I got a text from a friend of mine who I actually met through Instagram, and we had met up in Montana last summer, but turns out he was down in the San Juans in his Lexus. So we ended up meeting up at this spot and planned to go do a few trails the next day. We ended up driving by this old mine that was still very much intact, so we decided to stop and go have a look. This area of Colorado is so cool because there are so many old, little, well-preserved mining towns and mining buildings from the late 19th century that you can just drive through or even walk through and explore, like this one that we found in a basin on our way to camp. We drove around and explored for most of the day, and we actually ended up having to move campsites at one point because the wind and elevation that we were at, we were just freezing. So it was still very cold, and the weather can just be super unpredictable, but we did end up getting a pretty amazing sunset, so that was really nice. I left Aaron the next day because I had to go find these Old Man of the Mountain flowers. I knew that there was a super bloom about, and these flowers are just so remarkable. They grow for anywhere between 10 to 20 years and then flower once and then die. So the fact that there were so many of these flowers up here this year means that it's kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity, but they were stunning. The next day I ended up going on a off-trail backpacking trip, which I actually have a video from, so if you're interested in seeing what that was like, I will link the video here. I hung out at this spot for a few days, and my friend Aaron actually met up with me again for one night before heading up to Crested Butte. But above this road was a basin, and I have never seen as many wildflowers as I have in this basin. I feel like I've said that a couple times in these videos, but just fields and fields and fields, just so many, and they were so insanely bright and colorful. It was just pure magic. I eventually have to leave the mountains and back roads to get some water, some food, and some gas, and usually dump my trash. And usually I come to Silverton. Silverton is my favorite town in this area. I feel like it's not as popular as Ouray or Telluride, but I think it's a lot more charming and honestly has everything you need. Oops. As usual, the weather out here can be pretty unpredictable. Most afternoons would rain, but there were quite a few pretty cloudy, rainy days that I just kind of hung out and chilled. I was planning on going backpacking one day, but then ended up with a pack rat in my engine bay one night, so was up all night dealing with that and ended up having to move campsites at about 1:30 in the morning, so that wasn't very fun. Even in the middle of July, the weather out here can be really cold, but once the weather cleared up a bit and it looked like it wasn't going to rain for a few days, I headed over to the trailhead for this trail I've been trying to do for a couple of years, and really excited to show some of the clips from this because it's an absolutely incredible area, so stay tuned for that. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in next week's episode.